Defense made the plays all day. I don't know if the offense made any plays. Might have been reading their press clippings that they're so good because they didn't show up today. There was 11 guys that stunk. It wasn't just them. Hasn't been a problem until today. The red shirts had so much more energy in that practice than the white shirts. I think the white shirts thought there was something good after Friday, and they didn't show up today.
Bruce Arians, not pulling punches as he typically doesn't do. He makes his thoughts known, and he's not happy with his offense, but everybody else is. That's why we have them at number 6 on the preseason power rankings. And look, Chris, Arians may just be doing the football coach thing where the offense isn't as good right now as he wants it to be. It's still pretty good, but not as good as he wants it to be. So he's going to light the fire a little bit, apply the red-hot poker, and try to get them ready for the Saints coming to town, or they're going to town there. I got to go check the Week 1 schedule again. Either way, the two teams are playing.
They're going to the Saints.
Fans are going to be there.
They're going
to the Saints.
They are.
2 weeks from now, 13 days from now, we'll find out what the Buccaneers can do. But at least for now, Bruce Arians sounding the alarm.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's ebbs and flows through training camp. You know, the energy can be off. Hey, one team dominated. The offense dominated the 11-on-11 scrimmage 2 days ago. The defense has had to hear about it. Now they're pissed off. They're going to be ready to go. The defensive staff throws a few curveballs at the offense that they're not prepared for and hadn't seen in training camp. So that's the stuff that goes on, the gamesmanship there. Also, hey, offense, I think in a lot of ways, especially if a defense comes out and you're not prepared for it, that's going to be something to watch for. It's like what Tony Dungy said last week. I think we could see some moments of sloppy play. Like, hey, we're preparing for the Saints. We're preparing for the Saints. Wait, the Saints are playing this defense Week 1? We didn't see this in the preseason. Oh, that's right. There is no preseason. They didn't play this last year. Wait, hold on. We got to go to the sidelines and figure out how to pick up this blitz or deal with this coverage. I think we're going to see a lot of that. But regardless, I mean, the excitement for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is as high as I've ever seen in my lifetime. I mean, it really is. I feel like it's higher than even when John Gruden went to the Bucs teams and all that. It's amazing what we're seeing right now. And I am excited about that offense and what they have on that side of the ball. Certainly. But it is a new quarterback and some moving parts and all of that. And you just wonder how long that'll gel, let alone, Mike, the other thing, too, is just, hey, it's a great front seven, but that secondary really struggled last year. And we talked about it. It was one of the worst pass defenses in football, too. And we need to see that aspect of their team turn around, too. No matter who you got on offense, that's got to be better this year.
Yeah, and look, how often do you see one of the greatest quarterbacks, if not the greatest quarterback of all time, change teams, still have plenty of gas in the tank, even though he's 43. They get Rob Gronkowski out of retirement. All the indications are he's the guy he always was. We'll see whether or not that's the case. But there's a lot of reason to be excited. This is a team that was 7-7 with Mr. 30-30 in a bad way. Well, half of it in a bad way, half of it in a good way. First guy ever with 30 not first guy ever, but was he the first guy ever, Pete, with 30 interceptions and 30 touchdown passes?
Yes,
first guy ever. Charter member. How soon we forget Jameis Winston. And he fell apart those last couple of games. That was the reason why Bruce Arians said, enough. We can't have a guy this close to the finish line of the season just start throwing up interception after interception and just collapsing. And you take Tom Brady, you put him on that team that was otherwise 7-7 through 14 games. And at a minimum, Chris, they're going to get the 7th seed. The question is, how high up do they go? Unless Brady gets injured and it's the Blaine Gabbert show, they're getting into the playoffs. The question is, do they win the division? Do they somehow emerge with the only bye that will be available in the NFC? But this team, I think, is going to be dramatically better. It's a different attitude. It's a different mindset. They've got great weapons that were already there, better weapons than Tom Brady has ever had collectively. 2 guys on the field who will need to be doubled at all times, which becomes pretty hard to do if you've got Evans and Gronk still playing like Gronk. I mean, that's why I put them in the top 10. That's why I put them at number 6. I mean, it's obvious to me if guys pick up where they left off, even Brady diminished last year, and he was diminished in comparison to past years.
Yeah.
I still think he puts them in a position where they can be one of the best teams in the conference, if not one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly that potential. I'm not as steadfast on going, they're definitely getting the playoffs and all that. No, I'm not. I got too much respect for the overall sport of football to just sit here and just go, oh, they've accumulated a quarterback and they got a tight end who didn't play last year and is banged up and beat up, and now they're going to go to the playoffs. I'm not ready to just stamp that. I understand the potential there. I do. I mean, I get it. But I got questions. Yeah. I mean, like we've talked about, Brady didn't win one damn game for the Patriots last year. Not one. He couldn't make a damn play at the end of the year. So I'm not going to sit here and just go, oh, they got Tom Brady. Watch out. Fireworks ever. I'm not. Offensive line has been an issue there a little bit. Running games, there's not been that. So there's questions there, let alone new team, all of that. Offensive line questionable, got to go play the Saints week 1. I mean, I could see this offense kind of getting off to a slow start. And I will say this too. I think sometimes we talk about Bruce Arians and him sometimes like he's like this bona fide, I go to the playoffs coach every year. And I want to go, hey, I love Bruce Arians. I love his offense. But it's only been 1 year of whoa, that was a good team. So there's a lot there I got to see kind of come together. I see the potential, and I'm excited for it. And after the New York Giants, I mean, the Bucs, they have my heart. They drafted me. I loved playing there. I loved that fan base. But in my reality of football, I guess what I'm saying is I have questions. And I wonder if they'll maybe read their press clippings too much, like they're saying, and think that they're just, we got all these names and talent, we're going to hit the ground running. I could see them struggling a little early in the year before they kind of get it going.
But that's the thing about this season. We have no idea who's going to be complacent, who's going to be motivated. We've seen nothing. And even when there's a scrimmage, right, it's limited information that makes its way out. It's limited video because they're all trying to protect the bottom of the roster and all the games they're going to be playing as to who they release, who they try to get on the practice squad for COVID-19 purposes. This is a complete blank slate going into week 1, and we won't know whether or not a team falls flat, whether or not a team is motivated to go wire to wire, is one of the best teams around. We just won't know. But with Tom Brady and given that motivation he's had throughout his career, given what he did in the offseason, bringing those guys together, the double-barreled middle finger to the NFL Players Association when the union said stop it with the workouts among players until training camp opens because of the pandemic. Brady is motivated. He's driven. It's who he is. It's 20 years
no doubt
of the Patriot way that he's bringing to Tampa Bay. And again, they were 7-7 last year without him.
Right.
I think that they're going to eventually get to where he would be if they were in New England, that they will be one of the teams that needs to be reckoned with. And he gets to prove that he can thrive without Bill Belichick, as Bill Belichick tries to prove he can thrive without Tom Brady.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, again, Brady's still got a big-time arm. All those things he did in the offseason are certainly going to be beneficial to that football team, and he's great that way. He's fearless. He's a great leader. But again, I guess where I'm just trying to be a little skeptical is just we got to see it all come together. And I guess what I do look at sometimes too is just, hey, the defense. We don't talk about them much. This front seven, what they got there. I mean, when you talk about their front four, JPP, Vita Vea, what's his name? Vita or Vita Vea? I'm so sorry to this. Vita Vea. I'm so
Vita
sorry
Vea.
to you. I don't mean to do that.
None of the above.
Vita
Vea.
Gosh,
none of the above.
I kill his name all the time. And Ndamukong Suh, and then Shaquille Barrett, backed up by Levante David and Devin White, who's a top 10 pick linebacker 2 years ago. I mean, that front seven, despite if the offense and struggling and things like that, if they're not ready to go week 1 and hitting on all cylinders, that front seven should be able to, hey, Tom, you don't got it all down yet? It's all right. We can dominate this game. We can hold this offense into check. I think they might have to depend on that a little bit. And the big thing is they're going to have to depend on some young guys in the secondary who I think have a lot of talent, but they're just young and unproven. And last year let up a lot of big plays, and I think that'll go a long way too to just seeing how far this team goes. You're a little high. You're a little high for me at 6. Okay,
that's usually what I say to you.
Yes, I know.
Best case, worst case for the Buccaneers.
I don't see Super Bowl. Okay, I'm gonna say best case NFC Championship game. I'm gonna say that's the absolute best case. Worst case, I think like what we saw last year, 7-9, 8-8, just missed out on the playoffs. But I think that's about as bad as it can absolutely get.
How about Buccaneers 49ers?
Oh.
In the NFC Championship game.
Whoa.
Tom Brady taking on his boyhood team, the team that spurned him when he made an overture back in March. And let's say 49ers up 28-3 in the third quarter. Never mind.
You're funny.
Let's say it'd be a hell of a game. Of course, Kyle Shanahan, the coach of the 49ers, with the offensive coordinator of the Falcons. But it wasn't his fault that they blew that lead. He wasn't playing defense. And I just want to be clear on that. I don't want to get you all fired up.
Yeah, don't get me pissed off. So what are you thinking? What are you saying? You going Super Bowl? Winning Super Bowl?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I think they can win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Look, how many times do we have to have Tom Brady prove to us who he is and what he can do and how he can manipulate a defense? And with that group of weapons, the key is, can he stay healthy? And the key is, regardless of where his legs are week 1, where will they be week 17? Where will they be in January? The aging process continues. It's not like once football season starts, everyone's frozen in carbonite and their bodies don't continue to get any more beaten up and broken down. And if he gets hit, if he takes hits, if he can't get rid of the ball quickly, he's potentially going to be, just like Peyton Manning, limping into the station, but also hoisting a Super Bowl trophy a few years ago in his final season with the Denver Broncos. So I think best case, win the Super Bowl. Worst case, 7 seed and lose in the opening round of the playoffs. That's because this team's making old takes exposed.
Yeah. We know you've been saying
at least getting the 7th seed.
You've been
They're
saying
at least getting the 7th seed.
Yep. Don't worry. I'm not going to forget this one. If they don't make it in, don't you forget. I'll remember. Don't you worry.
It won't be Tom Brady's fault if it happens.
Okay.
The Buccaneers are trying to snap a long playoff drought. What we're going to do when we return, we're going to draft this year's playoff party crashers. Every year there's 4, 5, 6 teams that make it that didn't. Who are the 6 most likely to make it this year who didn't last year? More PFT Live right after.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.